Welcome to Angelic Astrology. And I talked to someone recently. I don't know if she'll see this, but it was in a reading, and she said that she thought this was her last life. And that's what I want to talk about in this video. And I'm not claiming that that's true or not true. However, I think this happens a lot with astrology, especially people they get into astrology and the like. When they first get into it, this idea of this is your last life, and that you're kind of, also they might say that they're kind of special in the sense that they have this uniqueness about their chart that makes them more spiritual, things like that. And here's my take on that, because I kind of felt similar when I first started with astrology. And I think for the most part, it's an avoidance. I'd say in like 99, if someone finds himself saying that, it's like 99% of the time, it's an avoidance. It's an avoidance of the life that they have to live right now. And I think that's partially, I think that that's true because I'd say a lot of people, I don't know what the number is, but there's huge, massive numbers of people that are avoiding at any given time in a state of avoidance. And that's not really to make judgment, it's just the way it is. It could be like the entire life, it could be parts of the life. And avoidance is kind of like a negative word, but it also could be kind of like taking a rest from the pain of change, the pain of what you have to do, etc. So it's a natural thing. It's not like, I shouldn't use that word avoid. It's not always like that where it's an avoidance, but it can be perceived like that. It can be perceived in these different ways. And then there's a small percentage of people that are very active, and that's just the way it is. And just to that point too, there's a lot of people that make it seem like that's really good and that's the way to live, especially media and everything you see on media. It's to live life to the fullest, etc. And it's never going to be accurate. That's never going to be the case for majority of people, or etc. So yeah, this is like I think this can be a very dangerous thing to buy into as well. This idea that this is your last life. I don't need to do what everyone else does. And you really just have to look at your life. This is the way I look at it. You just look at your life, look at where you're born. Look at where you're born, look at what you're born into, especially as you get older, and look at where you've been able to go. And especially if you're still like where you were when you were younger or in that environment, you're probably not getting out. And I think that's an easy way to kind of get out of dreamland and see that what your life really is. I think of like the idea of this being your last life too. It just reminds me of all the time that I studying yoga, and you see, not to say that you have to be some kind of yogi to be in your last life, but it just makes more sense that you would be in some kind of state like that, where you're doing some type of work, where you're just what you would think of as a more spiritual archetype of a person. I'm not saying that's sure, but that's the way I look at it, and that's how I looked at myself. Where, I may have dabbled with that. I may have thought about that, where most people haven't, or most people are in some sort of religion, if they have cultural religion. So, but that doesn't mean that I'm there, because again, like, you can see where I'm at right now. I'm on a tennis court. Like I'm not, I kind of got dragged back into this, and I really wanted to do astrology more full time, and I just haven't been able to make it happen. Haven't really focused that much on it either, like 100%, and I don't know what the reason is other than that. It's just, and if I look at my life, it makes sense. It makes sense.